What's up, everybody? It's your favorite space case favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the MMC Ocular Max all built in Astrolift, which is their blast off repaint for their Ruination, which was a con exclusive and on loan to me from Richard H. Whew, a lot of logistics in bringing this review to you. That being said, figured it was a masterpiece worthwhile taking a look at. Kind of dry out there at the moment, so to speak, so figured it couldn't hurt. With that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at this guy, but in order to do so, let's first take a look at accessories. You get a gun. It's just white plastic. It does fold up. That's to store in alt mode, but to extend it for robot mode, just like this. And then you can open the hands, plug that into the back of the palm, close the hand up. Storage wise, in alt mode, the gun sits in the kind of top of the bottom portion of the legs, if that makes sense. It's plugged in there. Let me see if I can't get it out now, so to speak. There we go. The barrel sits over on this side, and then, or I'm sorry, the tab here sits over on this side, and then this little peg pegs into that notch there. All right, so not much to talk about there. Let's get it right into alt mode. There it is with Tiger Tracks. So it's about 2 masterpiece cars, give or take. And let's take a look at it. So more of a traditional deco for a spaceship rather than the brown and purple. And I think it looks good. I like the other blast off spaceship mode also, and getting here is kind of a breeze, so that helps. I think for the most part what you see is either black plastic, white plastic, or black paint on white plastic. I've looked over this thing a couple times. It's a little tricky where the paint deco is, but either way, that means they did a pretty seamless job in that regard. We have the black and metallic purple windshield. That looks quite nice. Thrusters and all that. You know, pretty good. The underneath here, we have the landing gear that can flip up, and these can flip over. Then it can be more in space. You can sit it up like this, get ready for, you know, a launch, and that's about it. I mean, it doesn't really do a whole lot other than that, but I think it does this fairly well. All right, so let's get it transformed. And the first thing that you want to do is break this connection here, and this is an over-under kind of locking connection, so it can be a little stubborn, and there's one piece that's plugged in here. We're not going to go to arm mode because I feel like if you went to arm mode, you would be going from here. I don't think you would want to go from arm mode back to here, so I feel like it would be a waste of our time, but showing the other transformation I think is of value. Okay, so we're going to go from alt mode to robot and call it a day there. We're going to undo this. Spin this around, and that's the unlocking from top to bottom, with one exception. You can bring down these pieces here, you can bring down these pieces here and here, and then open this up on both sides, and now we have pretty much completely freed top and bottom. This has got to get done too. So let's see. We have to there. Top and bottom also. Sorry about that. All right, so there you go. Now we're completely free. Okay, so let's split the legs, and we can open up these portions here. And when you open up this, there's these little sections that fold in, and then that's basically done. So the legs, all right, toes are pretty easy. Flip them down, up and around. That's that. You can open this, tuck in your boosters here, your rocket boosters, and we'll disconnect this connection here. I don't know if you remember, I gave this thing a lot of grief on the blast off deco for having shin rockers. I'm not going to go through all that this time. It was a, you know, it would be like beating a dead horse, I suppose. So we're opening this up, flipping this out. We're tucking this piece 90 degrees in, that will sit inside of there. Then you can bring your shin back down. We're going to fold this little piece of the wing in. Bring your shin back down, fold this piece over, and then this piece sits down, and then you can sit that against the side there. We have this bit here. So this comes down. There's a tab and slot connection there. And then another one. Is there another one on the wing? No. That just sits up against it. And then this piece comes down, and there's a tab that goes into the back of the calf there. And then that's done. All right, so let's go ahead and do the same on the other side. We'll flip the toe up and around, lock it in, and then we have all of this. So we're gonna use our calf rocker, open this up, flip that piece out. This piece flips in 90 degrees, comes back down, tucks inside that cavity. That closes. Close up this little piece into the wing. That closes. This closes over top. We're going to tuck in our rocket booster as far as it will go. We got a little bit more to go on this side, actually. No, I'll fix it later. That closes in. And then we have our wing, which comes out on a double hinge, wraps around, tabs in to the inner, covers up the hand, and then this piece rotates, rocks down, tabs into the back of the leg. And that's the lower body done. Moving on to the upper body, you want to get this piece out, and then the fins fold around to the back side and peg in. And then we need to get this section free and the nose to the nose cone here. And that can be a little bit of an Henri connection, but no problem. Split the arms, and then these flip out to the side to start forming the chest. Let me raise the camera up a little bit. All right, there we go. So this piece comes over. There's a separate piece in here that makes up a portion of the chest. You want to clear that and then spin this section. Bring this down. That'll peg in. Bring that up. That'll fill out the chest. Then on the back, tuck these pieces in. This comes up. These pieces sit around to the back and make the kind of like the back plate there. And then all that's left really is the arms. And you just have to bend this down, rotate this around, tuck it in, and then rotate, 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 rotate. One side done. This side, and this is all pretty intuitive stuff. Bring this down, rotate it to the other side. Oh my goodness, I just commented on it and now I've ruined it for me. There. This comes up, rotate down, 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 there, voila. That's him. I'll clean him up. We'll take a look at him. So let's get in tight on the head sculpt for Dennis. Head sculpt looks good. Eyes are painted gold. We had this silver accent at the top and a slight like off-white for the mask. And then some silver accents along the back. The head is on a ball peg. You get a little bit up, good bit down, twist from side to side, and a little bit of confused blast-off face. So, all right, shoulders. Universal joint. Get you out to 90 degrees. 360 around. No butterfly joint. Bicep swivel. You have a wrist swivel. It's really a redundant joint because you also have the did I say wrist swivel? You have a forearm swivel. It's really a redundant joint because you have the wrist swivel as well. But perhaps something might get in the way with the kibble and might help you out. I'm not entirely sure. You do get this black paint accent on the forearm as well, and some sculpted detail in there that I think looks nice. The fingers are on a base pin knuckle. They are individually articulated on that knuckle, and they do have typewriter fingers, and then the thumb is on a ball peg. Moving on to the torso, I believe that this orange is the plastic and the white and black is what's painted on the opposite side. I'm not entirely sure about that. It could be white plastic that the orange is painted on and the black is painted on. I just can't tell. Either way, pretty seamless. Black accents there on the chest, gold accents on the black on the abdomen. Waist swivel, ab crunch, works nicely. Hip skirts, they get up and out of the way. This is just all flat plastic once again. For your full Van Damme. And pretty much the full Monty, a little shy of it. Thigh swivel. And a single jointed knee. It feels like, no, it's a double jointed knee, but it doesn't get you much past 90 degrees due to all of the blockiness on the legs that they have to have because of the all-in-one gimmick. All right, moving down. This is white plastic on the thighs there. This is gray plastic, I believe, on the wheels. Black plastic. The gold inside for the hand looks great. And black plastic. No, that's white plastic with black paint, I believe. So, yeah. And then there it is from the back. I'll go over ankle articulation really briefly. You get a toe tilt down, nothing really up, and then you get a rocker. It feels like you should get a rocker, but I can't get one out of it. I might have to check my other one because I have the, obviously the blast off deco. But yeah, there he is in a nutshell. Size comparison wise, there it is to next to a Masterpiece car. So, you know, taller than a Masterpiece car, smaller than a lot of like your Fans Toys or X-Transbots combiner limbs. But that's not even entirely fair, but because the X-Transbots ones are more in line with a smaller scale robot wise too. But either way, hopefully that gives you some sort of idea. I will show it to you with one other one for the sake of conversation. There it is with Magic Square Swindle. So, you know, theoretically it's the same size as the Magic Square X-Transbots, MMC sort of combiner limbs, just smaller than, you know, kind of what Fans Toys is doing, which is what I would actually prefer, but I get it. Final thoughts wise, let's start with the negatives, and some of them are really obvious. Like the hips are wonky, the lower legs are awfully blocky and junky because they have to hide the hand because of the all-in-one gimmick. Once again, I think that's kind of cutting off your nose to spite your face. That's my opinion on it, but I also get the draw of the gimmick that's really satisfying from a fan perspective. So it's a give and take. It's always going to be the give and take when I review this all-in-one stuff. There's just no way around it. There is some paint here, but the paint is really to make the deco of the shuttle work. It doesn't really do a whole lot for the figure. And also, I wish you could do a little bit more with those to give them a little bit more life and typewriter fingers, but I mean, that's definitely a nitpick, especially with a bot this small. You know, when you start getting into the bigger stuff, the more individually articulated fingers kind of lend themselves more to the overall presentation of the figure, but still it's something worth mentioning, but not as much a big deal here as it is other places. And then the only other thing is such a nitpick, but the boosters, the rocket boosters that you have to like bring out of the legs to form up the rockets for the alt mode, a little tight. Just fit and finish wise, a little tight. Just that's the sort of stuff I don't usually expect from MMC. They usually have that stuff down to a pretty good science. That was just a little like not alarmingly tight or anything, but just like noteworthy tight. Like it wasn't a tightness that could be overlooked. Moving on to the positives, once again in typical MMC fashion, the character really comes through in the way that it articulates. And even though it has some limitations in the articulation department, there's still something about what they do plug in here that makes it work. Sculpt work is nice. The articulation is great, once again with the exception of those feet. And, you know, I wish I could get a little bit more out of the knees. All of that goes into that all-in-one once again. Materials feel great. The build is solid. Comes with an appropriate accessory. What more could you ask for? And I mean, like, I love the transformation. I think the alt mode works. You know, so like my issues with this remain the same. The calf rockers, proportions, masterpiece aesthetic, stuff like that, I feel like it just fell short on. But as a toy, as a figure, it's a well-built, well-put-together, well-working thing. So apply that as need be. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.